From the station working for you, this is Good Morning Indiana, streaming now.
It's very disheartening, as you can tell. I've stood in front of you several times, and we've talked about the conflict resolution thing.
Indianapolis marks its 200th homicide this morning. The message from officers as they work to solve a record number of violent crimes. Plus, the candidates for Indiana governor making a final push for your vote. Now at 4:30, how they say they'll address racial disparities. Time right now is 4:30 here. It is Wednesday morning, halfway through your work week. Thanks for joining us. I'm Lauren Casey, and Todd Clausen is standing by in studio this morning. Todd, the view behind you, not that exciting right now.
There's not much of a view out there, Lauren, as boy, it's been a rough stretch of weather here. We had the rain on Monday, then yesterday was just cloudy. We had the drizzle off and on, a few heavier showers that moved through, and we still have all that moisture this morning, and that's why the top of the Salesforce Tower is locked in with the cloud cover. 46 degrees, the winds are to the northwest at 5 miles per hour, makes it feel like 44 degrees in the city, and everybody's still in the 40s temperature-wise. These temperatures just didn't move at all throughout the day yesterday, and they're still sitting at 43 in Lafayette, 47 in Bloomington. Well, finally today there will be some improvement across the area. The wave of moisture is finally pushing off towards the east. You look back off to the west and you already finally starting to see the clouds break up just a little bit, and that'll be the trend here this morning. But when we expand out, it's going to be short-lived. Here's Hurricane Zeta down in the Gulf of Mexico. There's another storm system bringing snow and rain to parts of Texas. These two are going to combine and head our way and bring us a lot of rainfall in spots for the day tomorrow. So take advantage of today's dry weather. We'll gradually thin the clouds out once the sun comes up. It'll turn partly cloudy this afternoon, and with that added sunshine, a little bit warmer today as high temperatures will be climbing into the mid to upper 50s. Lauren?
All right, Todd, thanks. Let's get a look at traffic right now as you're heading out on the roads. This is I-65 and I-70 at the North Split, where traffic here downtown is traveling up to speed. No issues, as you can see. So let's take you out to Plainfield, part of that construction project ongoing here along I-70 and State Road 267. You can see traffic is still moving along up to speed. If you look in the light real closely there, you can see some rain coming down. So just be aware of that as you're traveling through this spot. It looks like it's coming down pretty good, so we'll continue to keep a close eye on your roads and keep you updated this morning. New from overnight, a man had to be rushed to the hospital following a fire on the city's east side. This fire started just before 11 o'clock last night on LaSalle Street near 10th and Rural. Firefighters say that the fire may have started on a hot plate. A man is expected to survive his injuries. This duplex sustained nearly $75,000 worth of damage. The Circle City has surpassed a grim milestone. A man found dead inside of a car on the west side became the city's 200th homicide victim. Metro Police were called to Longview Lane just off Tibbs around 7:30 Tuesday night on reports of a crash. There they found a man inside a vehicle with injuries not consistent with a car crash. He died at the scene. Metro Police officers say that they understand the community is frustrated with the increase in crime because they are too.
We know the community's frustrated. We're frustrated with the community. We grieve with those families. Our officers, our homicide investigators, we grieve. They take that home every day. Our homicide investigators work daily, 24 hours, trying to get some of these crimes solved. It's, like I said before, it's very frustrating to our officers. You've heard me say it before. The year 2020 has been a challenging year.
Well, of the 200 homicides in Indianapolis this year, 160 of those have been ruled as intentional. If you have any information that could help solve any of these crimes, please call Crime Stoppers. Remember, you can remain anonymous. Well, the candidates for Indiana governor making a final push before Election Day. Incumbent Republican Governor Eric Holcomb, Democrat Dr. Woody Myers, and Libertarian Donald Rainwater discussing a wide range of issues during their final debate last night. One of the questions candidates answered was, what is the role of government to address and eliminate racial disparities?
We can also start being more aware of the disparities in regulations and laws that adversely affect minorities and minority opportunities. And most of these things, again, are government related, because when government oversteps its bounds, it usually does so in a way that adversely affects the minority community. And we can fix that by having a governor who is actually working on that himself.
We need bias training for all of our officers as a routine part of their training. We need oversight of that very small percentage of officers that don't follow policy, where accusations have been made. You know, the vast majority of our officers do exactly as they're supposed to, and they know that this small percentage is hurting the reputations of the profession. And yes, we do need decriminalization for simple possession, and we need to make sure that we legalize medical marijuana in the state and apply our laws fairly and equally.
I will appoint the first ever cabinet level chief officer of inclusion and opportunity and equity. The CEIOO, that's a mouthful, but they will be in charge of making sure that we remove any barriers, that we remove any hurdles and address those gaps. Economic empowerment will go a long way, but we need to be looking at housing, transportation, health outcomes, all the above, including our training, the ILEA, the way that we train our officers, and we will have body cams come next year.
Well, for a more in-depth recap of the entire debate, you can download the WRTV app and just click on this story. Former yearbook advisor and Brown County High School has now resigned. Dr. Greg Mosley's resignation letter comes after school officials announced their investigation found he was responsible for a yearbook caption with racial undertones. The caption referred to a student as black guy. Prior to Mosley's resignation, school officials said he had been removed as the yearbook advisor. He was also suspended for 2 weeks without pay. At 4:36, let's turn now to the coronavirus and its continued impact on our state. This morning, the state health department reports 51 more Hoosiers have died with COVID-19. That's the highest number of daily deaths in a single report since May. Since the pandemic began, more than 3,900 Hoosiers have died with the virus. Health officials also report 2,062 new coronavirus cases. Since the pandemic began, nearly 167,000 Hoosiers have tested positive for COVID-19. And a rise in COVID-19 cases forcing a change of plans for some school systems. Pike Township schools announcing some students will return to virtual learning for at least part of their school week. Starting next Monday, all 3 of Pike Township's middle schools will revert to a hybrid schedule. Students will be in class 2 days a week and do virtual learning for the other 3 days. A spokesperson for the school district says that the new schedule will be in place until the positivity rate in Marion County starts to come down. Pike High School will remain on its current hybrid schedule, while the township's elementary schools will continue with full-time in-person learning for now. This morning, school leaders out in Vigo County are trying to figure out who sent a fake text message to every parent in the school district. The text message claims that the district would be switching to e-learning because of a spike in coronavirus cases. The message provides a link and asks people to help spread the message. School officials say the message is not from them and they will operate as normal. The district says if you did receive this message, do not open the link. At 4:38 this morning, Indianapolis continues to invest in connecting the city through trails. On Tuesday, city leaders celebrated the trail projects constructed this year. The Department of Public Works and Indy Park say that there were 11 major projects in the year 2020, including this one here at the convergence of the Central Canal Town Path and Fall Creek Trail. The work totaled about $20 million. Mayor Joe Hogsett says the new and improved pathways come as interest in using them also increases.
This also happens at a time when sales of bicycles have spiked to their highest levels in decades, and when more city residents are exploring their city on foot. Have you gotten your steps in today? These improvements, frankly, could not come at a better time.
Well, you can find a full list of this year's trail and greenway projects on the WRTV app. Wildfires continue to burn out in California this morning. Still ahead, the latest on firefighters injured in this massive blaze. And the IndyCar season just wrapped up on Sunday, but drivers, they aren't wasting any time preparing for next year when you can catch them back here at IMS. Todd.
And Lauren, we still have some patchy drizzle across parts of the area here this morning, but our attention turns to the south, and Hurricane Zeta combined with another area of low pressure that will bring us the potential for flooding across the area starting late tonight and into Thursday morning. We'll break it all down for you coming up in your WRTV Storm Team forecast when Good Morning Indiana continues in just a couple minutes.
The time right now is 4:42. It is Wednesday morning. Here's a live look right now at traffic up in Hamilton County. Good morning to you in Carmel. Here's a live look along US 31, a view near Rangeline Road where traffic is really quiet still this morning. No crashes to report around the metro area or around central Indiana that we can see. So we'll continue to keep a close eye on everything going on out there. We'll let you know if there are any delays to slow you down. We know Election Day is now just 6 days away. Both President Trump and former Vice President Joe Biden are crisscrossing key battleground states in the home stretch of their campaigns. This morning, ABC's Elizabeth Schulze reports on this final push to appeal to voters.
Just 6 days to go in the battle for the presidency, the candidates now making a final push in the states that will determine the outcome of the race. Down in the polls and on defense, President Trump on Tuesday stumped in Michigan, Wisconsin, and Nebraska, states he won in 2016.
Now I've got to say, I'm working my ass off here.
Trump expected to hit nearly a dozen states this week, with 11 rallies planned in the final 48 hours before Election Day. The president and First Lady Melania Trump on the campaign trail for the first time Tuesday, trying to appeal to suburban women who helped clinch a victory 4 years ago, but have been drifting away from Trump in recent polls.
You know what else? I'm also getting your husbands. They want to get back to work, right? They want to get back to work. We're getting your husbands back to work.
Trump's closing argument, don't worry about the pandemic. Despite the U.S. averaging more than 73,000 cases a day, the highest weekly average during any 7-day stretch yet.
We're rounding that beautiful turn, and it's going to be very good.
Joe Biden with the opposite message.
He said it's going to go away. We're learning to live with it. I told him we're not learning to live with it. You're asking people to learn to die with it, and it's wrong.
The former vice president trying to unify voters during a campaign stop in Georgia, a state no Democrat has won since Bill Clinton in 1992.
We win Georgia, we win everything.
In another attempt to expand the Electoral College map, Biden will visit Iowa this week. Also on his agenda are traditional swing states, including Florida, Wisconsin, and Michigan. Former President Barack Obama was on the trail for Biden again in Florida, where he didn't hold back in his attacks on President Trump.
What's his closing argument? That people are too focused on COVID. He said this at one of his rallies. COVID, 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 he's complaining. He's jealous of COVID's media coverage.
Biden will keep focus on the pandemic today with a speech on health care and COVID-19, while Trump is set to hold 2 rallies in Arizona. Elizabeth Schulze, ABC News, Washington.
So this morning, again, 6 days left until the election, and more than 68 million people have voted already. That's half of all the ballots cast during the 2016 presidential election. States are reporting record-breaking vote by mail and in-person early numbers. The data shows more than half the votes already cast this year come from the 16 key states. Florida, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, and several others. They'll play a crucial role in determining who wins the presidency this year. And as always, you can count on WRTV for everything you need to know on Election Day. Join us for Election Day live on your favorite streaming device. Our coverage begins immediately following Good Morning Indiana and lasts through our 11 o'clock news. At 4:46 this morning, the NFL says 8 players and 11 personnel have tested positive for COVID-19. The results are from the league's latest testing period from October 18th through the 24th. During that window, the NFL administered more than 42,000 tests. A breakdown of the numbers since August first shows 500,000 have been administered. In total, 55 players and 82 personnel have tested positive. Authorities are investigating a deadly crash involving a school bus Tuesday afternoon. Tennessee Highway Patrol says the driver and a 7-year-old girl were killed. 5 other children were also taken to the hospital. Investigators say a service electric truck hit the Meigs County school bus. The truck driver lost control and overcorrected and then skidded into an oncoming bus lane. 22 of the students on board the bus were there at the time. 5 firefighters are in the hospital this morning, injured while battling massive wildfires out in California. Those firefighters battling the Silverado Fire near Irvine when they were injured. At last check, the 2 were listed in critical condition. Fire has also forced 70,000 people and 150 zoo animals to evacuate. Firefighters say battling the wildfires are tough, but the injuries add a new level of complexity.
It's tough for any firefighter, certainly any fire chief, to feel this helpless when you've got part of our fire family, again, fighting for their lives.
We had firefighters in our backyard starting at about 4 in the morning. So, you know, there's a concern, but I also felt very safe knowing that we have the best firefighters in the world.
Silverado Fire has burned more than 13,000 acres, and at this point, it is 5% contained. Back here at hometown, let's get a look at our current conditions, and you can't see too much behind you. You can see a little bit there, some lights peeking through.
Yeah, you can see the Key Bank sign there, and I've been watching this camera for the past couple minutes, and it was pretty good earlier, and then all of a sudden the next wave of clouds and mist came through, and that's just the way it's been here for the past 24 hours, and there still is some drizzle and mist out there that you'll have to contend with as you get going on this Wednesday morning. 46 degrees in Indy right now. The wind out of the northwest at 5 miles per hour, making it feel even a little bit cooler, and temperatures are in the 40s no matter where you are. So we have to be a little bit patient here this morning. The roadways are still wet from the rain last night and the drizzle and mist that was moving through the area, but I do think we should be able to thin the clouds out just a little bit. We're never going to get rid of them completely across the area, so don't plan on that. But I do think the middle half of the morning into the early afternoon, we can get a little bit of sunshine in here to help to dry us out a little bit, but it's going to be short-lived because the clouds come right back later on this evening. The one thing you will notice, I think, today, if you're going to be out and about, it's a little bit warmer as temperatures will be climbing up into the mid-50s. And you can see this is kind of the last hurrah of the waves of moisture that have been moving through. So this will slide through the area. The clouds breaking apart a little bit across northern Indiana already. And so it'll be a gradual trend, but eventually we will get there. Now, there's a lot going on down to our south. Here we had the hurricane that's down in the Gulf of Mexico, Zeta. A lot of moisture here through Texas. This is an area of low pressure. That's an area of low pressure. And they're both going to lift to the north, and they're going to head in our direction and bring us a lot of rain. Tomorrow's essentially a washout for us. It turns very windy as well. Temperatures will get eventually up to right around 50 degrees. The heaviest of the rain tomorrow is going to be in southern locations. I'll show you the big picture, and then I'll bring it a little closer to home for you here across the area. Here comes all the moisture surging to the north, and here we are at about 1 a.m. Tomorrow morning, and you can see that heavy rains moving in southern locations. And there goes Zeta, so we don't get a direct impact from Zeta, but it's more the other area of low pressure. Now let me bring it closer to home for you on TrueCast. Here we go, about midnight, steady rains moving into southern locations. It spreads to the north. You wake up tomorrow morning, it's raining pretty much everywhere across the area. The rain gets heavy at times throughout the morning hours tomorrow, and then eventually it starts to make its way off. I do think there's going to be a pretty sharp cutoff here in northern locations. You'll still get some rain, but you're not going to get into the real hefty rainfall totals. It's probably below an inch in Lafayette as well as Peru, about 1 to 2 inches in Indy, and then should easily get to about 2 inches in southern locations. And it's in those southern locations that flood watches are already posted. And I would suspect that at some point tomorrow, once it starts raining, we will get some flood warnings issued. So be aware of that, especially if you live south of Indianapolis. Friday, though, we start to dry out, and then we do have a nice stretch of dry weather that's going to take us into next week. Halloween, 56 degrees. Monday and Tuesday, sunshine in the 50s. But look at that Monday temperature, Lauren. We're starting off right around 27 degrees Monday morning, so everybody should likely be below freezing.
All right, Todd, thanks so much. Let's get a look at traffic as we're heading out on the roads this morning. You can see this is a live look here at I-465 East Washington Street over on the east side where everything's traveling smoothly. No delays to slow you down. So let's take you over to the opposite side of town. This is northwest side, I-465 near West 38th Street. You can see traffic here is pretty quiet as well. We'll continue to keep our eyes out for any crashes or delays, and we'll keep you posted. Starting today, you will have the chance to see IndyCar drivers speeding around IMS as they start preparing for the 2021 Indy 500. IndyCar champion Scott Dixon, Ed Carpenter, Ryan Hunter-Ray, Joseph Newgarden, Pato O'Ward, and reigning Indy 500 champ Takuma Sato will be testing today and tomorrow out at IMS. Newgarden and Sato test this afternoon from 11 to 6. All 6 drivers are scheduled to test Thursday from 10 to 6. You can watch for free from the Turn 2 viewing mound. However, you must wear a mask and practice social distancing. A Michigan man has a lot to be thankful for, including surviving cancer. This morning, how he's now helping those who can't help themselves. Plus, residents in the Noblesville area, they're worried about a proposed addition to a local park. Coming up all new at 5, what the addition could mean for those who use this park. It is 4:52. Stick around. We'll be right back. Welcome back. A Michigan man is encouraging all of us to do good with the spare time the coronavirus pandemic has given us. Dan Egler beat cancer, and his next goal is to run 4 marathons in 24 hours. So Dan and his wife Janet, they foster dogs, and with fundraisers helping the foster organizations canceled due to the pandemic, Dan started running over the weekend, and then 23 hours, 44 minutes later, Dan crossed the finish line, complete with a hug from Janet and their dogs. Dan raised $134,000. And it's all to help the dogs. Pretty impressive there, Todd. Wow.
I would say so. Absolutely. That running looks good. Well, and we had good weather to get out there and get on some of the trails here across central Indiana. Yesterday, we had all that drizzle out there. Today, a little bit of an opportunity. We'll be dry for the most part. There's some drizzle and mist out there still, but that'll be moving out. Tomorrow, though, a washout. Start making those indoor plans right now. In fact, some flooding concerns will grow across southern portions of central Indiana for tomorrow. But the good news is, after tomorrow, pretty nice stretch of dry weather that takes us not only through Halloween, but into the middle of next week and the start of November as well, with plenty of sunshine and temperatures in the 50s. We'll break down the heavy rain for you for tomorrow coming up when Raphael joins Lauren and I on Good Morning Indiana here in just a couple minutes.